him, whatsoever thou spendest more, then when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now of these three thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And they go on and say, well, obviously it was the Samaritan. And I don't want to talk about the priest or the Levite, but I just want to say a couple things. Number one, about the Samaritan. Number one, the Samaritan socially was not accepted of the man that he helped. If that man was a Jew that was on his way down there, the Samaritan that stopped to help him wasn't in the social circle with him. That Jew on a normal day would not have spoke to him, would not have helped him. He could have seen that Samaritan in trouble time and time and time, over again. He would not have stopped to help him one time because socially he did not think he was worth it. Why do I say that? Because quite honestly, as the family of God and children of God, we know that we're in the vast minority as far as population goes. And people may not treat us well, and that's okay. When we have a solution and we can help and when we can reach out to people, we need to do it whether they accept us or not. I guess I'll just share it no, I'm not going to. I had a guy at work that I've been having some trouble with. And I was angry with him because he really did it was a nasty thing that he did. And I was kind of upset with him. And you know, I got thinking about it, and people were asking me questions about it. And I think they were trying to see how I would respond to it. And I finally had to say, you know, the Lord got a hold of my heart. And I said, you know what? I don't think he meant anything bad by it. I think he's just trying to protect himself and protect his family. And he's doing what we're all doing. He may be doing it different than me, but I can't fault him for trying to do what we're all trying to do. And this fellow and I, Friday, he was actually walking out of the room. I didn't wear a mask. That upset him. He sent a bunch of emails. And I didn't get in much trouble because he asked me, he said, can you wear a mask when you're over here in this area? And I said, sure. And I was going to do it. And before he saw whether I would comply or not, he sent off a bunch of emails. My boss got emails, and he made a big deal out of it. So I was kind of upset. But then I got talking about it, and I thought, you know what? I need to respond to it the right way, whether he treats me right or not. And as he was leaving Friday, he actually said, hey, Tim, have a good weekend. I said, you too, Jerry. I hope you have a good weekend too. And I need to love him. And we need to love people that don't treat us right. And we need to be available to help those people because Jesus would help those people. Jesus was a friend of sinners. And if we're going to be like him and if we're going to have success, we have to do what he does. Secondly, politically, that Samaritan had no part in the Jewish nation. Politically, he was totally ostracized. You couldn't hold any office. You couldn't be a tax collector if you were a Samaritan. That's how much they despised those people. So he had no input into the political system. Now, I know they're trying to say the separation of church and state, and I hope you understand that's not in the Constitution anywhere. And as a matter of fact, if we don't have some church in the state is going to keep going the direction it's going, and it's just going to continue to be worse. So we're going to continue to let our light shine, and we're going to continue to be salt and light, and we're going to continue to spread God's influence in the political system because it's not about politics. It's about right, and it's about wrong, and it's about saved, and it's about lost, and it's about helping people. So even though we don't have any political input, so they say, and maybe we don't belong, we're children of the King. God owns all of this, and if he says we should be in it, you know what? We're going to be in it. With meekness and fear and humility and love is how we're going to respond to these people. And the very last thing, religiously. Religiously, the Jews would not even allow the Samaritans in the temple. They were half-breeds. They were outcasts. They were literally nobodies. There was no way that Samaritan was ever going to get invited to a church function. There was no way he was ever going to be allowed to be in the temple. There was no way he was ever going to be considered of the Jews, the religious people, to be a member of God's family simply because of situations out of his control. He couldn't help how he was born. He had no lot in that. No matter how righteous he tried to be, according to the religious people, he was going to be an outcast. And amazingly, Jesus brings up this story. And he says, who was the neighbor unto this guy? It wasn't the religious guy. It wasn't the priest. It wasn't the Levite. It was the guy who really had no part or parcel in the religious system. And Jesus lifted him up and says, you know what? There is the guy that made a difference. So we got to know what he says. We got to go where he goes. We must do what he does. None of these externals made a difference in his internals. Everything that was applied to the Samaritan, all the ways that he was treated growing up, day by day. None of that applied to his internal relationship, how he wanted to help people. Even though he was treated unequally, he responded eternally. And Jesus says, go and do likewise. If you want to have the Spirit of God, you've got to go where he goes. You have to do what he says. And you have to know what he says. Amen?
Amen.
Amen. All right, I hope that helps you. God's a pure God. You're not going to walk with him half-heartedly. You're either going to be with him and agree with him, or you're going to walk your way, which is not going to be God's way. And he's pure, and he's holy, and everything that he does is right. And there's not an argument in this Bible anywhere that he's not right. Every single time. The world needs to know that. Amen? All right. Brother Jerry, why don't you close us in prayer this morning, and we'll dismiss.
Dear Lord, come this morning. Just thank you for just the opportunity that we have, Lord.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing us always, Lord, to just learn your word,
Yes.
study your word, Lord, and just come close to you, Lord. I ask your blessing upon the service today,
Yes.
Lord, and just all the people that come. Pray that you come down and join us, Lord, and just move upon the congregation. In Jesus' name, pray. Amen.
Amen. God bless y'all. Good to see you in church this morning.